It's been a couple of weeks since Tidal Wave has been released. That's album 17. Thank you for checking that out if you have. It was an exciting album to record and exciting album to put together, right? To structure the songs in a particular order, as well as to disclose the story behind the tracks and the album in the previous podcast. So if you have not listened to that, I encourage you to check it out, get some further, deeper information as to Tidal Wave, right? And my thoughts and feelings behind it. I do have the next album already up in the cloud, waiting to be released on May 1st. That album is titled Glacier, and I'm super excited about that one. It's lots of firsts for this album. One of them including my wife's artwork, my wife's painting, which is hanging up in my music room. I took a picture of it and decided to throw that up as the album cover, as it's titled Glacier. You'll see why, some maybe some abstract ties to that title. And it's called Glacier because the title track is actually one that to me sounds kind of cold, icy, glassy type of sound and feeling. And it's largely because I'm using a ring mod pedal that I want to say recently purchased, but I purchased a while back in November of 2025, right? Just before Black Friday, right? All the sales were going on. And I had been eyeing this Warm Audio Ringer Bringer pedal for months. And I was like, do I need that? Do I want that? I'm liking Ring Mod and what I've done on album 10 specifically, Texturas, on the Titanium track and Fierro track. And I was like, I want to explore Ring Mod a little further. What can I do with it? How can I expand upon how I use it, right, in recording and musical composition? And even though I felt I had a way of using my Ring Mod preset in my Ampero 2, I was like, I don't want to just exhaust that one approach. I want to get this Ring Mod pedal and hopefully tap into some new cool ring mod stuff that I just have not been able to exercise through my Ampero 2. And again, just waited, and Black Friday sales sprung up. And the pedal to begin with, even before the sale began, wasn't crazy expensive. I do not remember what the price tag was, but I think at Black Friday sale it was like below $200, like I don't know, 180, 187, some odd number. But either way, I was like, okay, this is my sign. Click, put it in my cart, pulled the trigger, and bought the pedal. And even though I liked what I could do with it in a parallel recording situation, right, through my effects loop in my Ampero 2, I didn't decide to track with it because I felt I had too much momentum in doing other type of recordings, and I wanted to give this pedal a little bit more time to be explored properly, rather than say, hey, I got this pedal, I'm going to dump it into a track. I'm going to dump it into a recording, which I think, to be honest, would have been fine in most cases. But it was a me thing, right? I felt like I needed to do my homework on it, and I feel like I still need to do homework on it, but I have definitely explored it more, and already some initial hype has been captured, hopefully, such as in this track Glacier, where I am using the Warm Audio Ringer Bringer Ring Mod pedal, and it is in parallel. It is via Ampero 2 effects loop, and I feel like that's the best way for me to go ahead and get the sounds that I need on a more clean level, adding some noise gates, some filters. I don't think I added an EQ block, but I think I added a little bit of reverb as well. So there's a few blocks, like 3 or 4 blocks that are in the Ampero, so that I can kind of shape the ring mod sound a little more in a more tamed manner. And to even hype up the ring mod pedal even more, I purchased an expression pedal, which some friends were like, you don't have an expression pedal? I haven't had an expression pedal since like 15, 20 years ago. And by that I mean more like a wah pedal. I don't think I ever used a pedal more on a volume basis, even though I ended up having one as well, which was very short lived, and ended up selling it before we moved houses about 5 years ago. But anyway, yeah, expression pedal, volume pedal. Well, I haven't really dabbled with one since like 15, 20 years ago. But again, I got one. I got the Ampero, whatever the the most basic expression volume pedal mod or version model is. And I hooked it up to my Ring mod pedal. And that's where the magic really happened, where I could scoop up the frequencies or lower them. And obviously, there's multiple jacks on the Ring mod pedal, and again, have yet to explore them all. But two of which I tried are definitely keepers, are definitely usable for me. Still in parallel, but again, Glacier's the first of many tracks to come, where I'll be using Ring mod. And in fact, on the June 1st album, I can guarantee there will be at least 3 or 4 tracks where I'm using Ring mod, not necessarily in the same fashion, definitely with the expression pedal on multiple tracks. And again, maybe not every track, but I know for sure there's 3 to 4 tracks that I'll be using the Ring mod pedal kind of as a theme throughout the album. And again, because of the hype, because of the discovery, because of the time I'm spending with the pedal, I want that to translate through that album a little more specifically, right? So, Ring mod, warm audio, love the pedal, bang for buck. Again, if you're into Ring mod stuff, definitely check out the June 1st album once it's released, which I do have a title and I do have a cover. Yes, it's some of my kids' artwork, but I'm not going to disclose what that is exactly yet, and saving the title name as well. So anyway, Glacier is coming up on the May 1st album. Can't wait for you guys to hear it. On the current weight on my new S. Martin bass build, it's supposed to be finished by June, July, but at the rate Samuel Martin is working on that bass, I'm getting all these pictures periodically, questions just to verify, what I want done to the instrument, and it's coming along fast. It's so nice. I'm super excited. I'm already seeing paint on it. I'm already seeing the neck looking amazingly close to finish, at least from the backside. I don't know if the inlays are in just yet because the fretboard was covered up when I got the most recent picture of the body being painted, a couple of coats in, and so I'm definitely excited. I will say that, and some of you may already know what color it is, but I will not share that here just yet. It is going to be in a matte finish, and I kind of want to tell the story ahead of time, but yeah, why not? Let's do it. Let's do it. So I've always been into natural wood grains, right? The natural wood tops. Yeah, sure, some colors here and there over the years, red specifically, but I've always liked some of the grain and the natural wood cutting through. And especially on my last few basses, natural wood finishes have been everything, right? From my maple burl top bass to my beloved Buckeye burl top, right? And even though I got rid of those basses, my current S. Martin 32 concert hollow body, it has a natural walnut type of top. I forget what the Brazilian name for the top is, but it's amazing. It's pretty dark, but it definitely has character. It definitely has contour, and I love it. But even with all that and the changes in my life, and I would like to say growth, right? Being more open-minded, and even though I was never about headless basses, even though I was never about single cut basses, with S. Martin, I have definitely turned a new leaf, right? I have definitely changed my opinion and willingness to acquire and play these type of instruments, where I would never have done that 5-10 years ago or in my youth. And so now, I know I said in my youth, I'm going to be 40. I don't know if that's still young to some, but what I heard Morgan Freeman say on Jimmy Kimmel's show, Jimmy Fallon's show, never let the old man in. Never let the old man in. That's the key to longevity, and if not looking youthful, feeling and navigating this earth as if we're still in our 20s, right? So I'm gonna take that to heart and run with it. So the new S. Martin build, it's gonna be 33 inches long, scale length, 17.5 millimeter string spacing, just a little bit bigger than my current bass, with the idea that it'll be more of a standing bass. I'm going to be wanting it to look a little bit more aggressive, hence the Freedom model that I'm getting. It's going to be sick. Just know that it's going to be sick. Finger ramp on it as well, as I was accustomed using for probably 6 years. And even though I stopped with this recent bass, I'm definitely going to want that on this other slightly larger instrument. So it's going to be a great time to have that. The neck will be maple and the fretboard as well. And so, again, that's my favorite kind of fretboard. I do miss having that, even with this Concert 32. As much as this Wenge fretboard is perfect for this instrument, I feel like on this new instrument, it's more of who I am on a live cover band or pop band type basis, right? This instrument's more, I feel, for the jazz recording / solo type gig, and I'm gonna reserve it as such, right? I'm gonna try to stretch this instrument out more towards those musical routes and platforms. So I can't wait to talk about the new bass once it does arrive, get to demo it. Obviously, if you follow me on Instagram, I'll definitely be slamming photos like crazy up there to let you in on the new bass acquisition. I just played with Ralph Edwards and the Vibe Check Band this past weekend at Howlin' Wolf in Tower District, Fresno, California. It was a great time. Again, even though we don't play as often, and Ralph is working on his original music, his original album, we are doing some gigs here and there, mostly private. Friday night's gig was a public show. Went well, had a great time, and we're actually going to be playing a private show this upcoming Saturday, which is going to be wild for me in the sense that, wow, we get to play 2 weekends in a row, which is very rare now, even though we used to play 2 to 3 gigs almost every week before Ralph made the voice. But on Saturday, I'm going to have a double header. I have a gig with FYB / Andromeda / Down For You, right? I used to have a band called Down For You, and we used to run that thing into the ground for about 5 years, gigging about twice a week. And saxophone player from Andromeda Sul, George Campos, will be on the gig. Cesar Enamorado from FYB and the Abella Trio. He was an original, a longtime member of Down For You. And so again, this is kind of meshing the old with the current and using Nate Guzman on drums, who's an amazing drummer. He plays with Andromeda Sul. He plays with plenty of bands around town. And so I'm super excited to kind of low-key resurrect Down For You in the sense that we're going to be doing many of the old tunes, plus having Nate as a newer drummer addition, and playing with George again with this more cover band mix that we don't really do, right? We've been more focused on the Andromeda Sul trio and sound and original music that I've been writing with George Campos on the sax. So this lineup, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. But what I will say, being that it's a doubleheader, I'm going to be rushing from gig 1 to gig 2. I believe the first gig is 5 to 7, and then my second gig is 8 to 10. So pretty wild. I'm going to be tearing down as soon as one gig ends, hauling it to the next, setting up like I've never set up before, and then rocking the second one, right? So two 2-hour gigs back to back just enough time to get from point A to point B. And so just, praying that everything goes smoothly with traffic and all of that, right? So excited, playing with two bands, and all one day. It's going to be a lot, but that doesn't happen all too often. And I'm sure that the adrenaline rush is going to happen. And again, if you're the kind of person that kind of uses the same setup, gig in, gig out, which I do, you kind of know what goes where pretty quickly. You could be talking to somebody and, pretty much making very efficient progress in your setup and tear down. But again, I'll probably be all the more focused in both setting up and tearing down on Saturday just because of the limited time. Let's see, I want to say something, I guess, in regards to the inspiration that I've been getting from listening to Charlie Puth on some interviews. And I want to say that I've been probably exposed to one too many interviews, if that's a bad thing, within the last month regarding Charlie Puth. But he's, I think, such an inspiration on a pop side of things, jazz side of things, recording approaches, and just the encouragement that he gives musicians and young composers and artists, right? The fact that he's encouraging everybody to just be themselves, be a risk taker, and put out their work, be transparent. Don't be so after whatever cookie cutter system or approach or music is already out there. If it's not who you are, he's short of saying don't do it. He's just saying, hey, at the end of the day, the best thing to do is portray yourself honestly. And I kind of want to say that I've been doing that for the past year and releasing these 9 songs every month. And perhaps that's unorthodox, but I feel like there's less room to sugarcoat and overproduce, if you will, I'm definitely not letting anybody else touch my stuff and record and mix or whatever. I'm doing all the nitty gritty myself, as unpolished, as rough as a lot of the tracks can be. I'm enjoying the organic aspect of it, just being out there and pretty much just showcasing everyone my rehearsals, like on a glorified demo basis, right? With that being said, the whole being risk taking, and I always applaud my students at school, my music students at the junior high where I work, for embarking on a musical journey that some were scared to take perhaps initially. Maybe they never played an instrument, and now they can play 4 major scales. They can play several pep tunes. They're playing classical music. They did a short little music video. And so all these little risks that they take are worthwhile if they're giving themselves the opportunity to explore something they're curious about. And in turn, they discover that they're capable, right? Maybe not the first time, maybe not the second, but each experience empowers them to take the next step and be better and be more capable. And with that, I feel like I'm taking more risks musically. Again, like with this ring mod pedal, I know in talking to some people are like, how do you get that thing to sound good? I feel like I can't get a good sound out of it. And again, I guess what sounds good is subjective. If it sounds good to you, that's what matters most. But I would say, sure, you can look up things, but at the end of the day, it's about you tweaking whatever gear and finding what sits well to your ear. Again, with the risk taking, I have been wanting to record ambient outdoor sounds, right? Whether it's sounds of a river, sounds of, just at street corner. And it recently rained here in Fresno a couple of days ago, and I recorded the rain. I stood out underneath my patio and recorded the rain, which I felt sounded amazing. And I was like, all right, I'm doing this finally. I'm finally recording. the outdoors, some sort of nature element or elements, and gonna track over this. So I stood out for 2.5 minutes listening to the rain hitting the patio roof, you know, the rain hitting little puddles around the backyard, the rain hitting metallic fixtures on top of roofs or nearby houses, and all that together. It thankfully was a steady, continuous wash of sound and pitter patter, right? That was, to me, was amazing. So I already tracked a bass thing over it, just a single bass part. I didn't want to get too crazy layered or in layering too many things that it kind of detracted away from the rain itself. I wanted the rain to be a huge canvas that I was just going to play over. And hopefully I've done enough decency melodically, harmonically to say that what I played hopefully danced in and out of the rain appropriately. And so I'm very excited to have that notch already or that box crossed off. And again, that will be on the June 1st album, which again, haven't disclosed the title or the album cover, but that'll be album 19. 19? Yes, album 19. So stay tuned for that nature-y, organic, rain heavy track. And maybe it's at an appropriate time. June's going to be hot for us here in the Fresno Valley, the California Valley and Central Valley. And we're going to be begging for rain. So if all else, at least you'll get to hear some actual raindrops, unfiltered, right? No effects. It's just going to be straight up raw. I did try to put some reverb on it to see what that would do. And honestly, keep it untouched. Keep the rain track pure, right? It's perfect as is, in my opinion. If you're like me, you've had 3 kids and you've had sound machines going off much of the time, right? As they're infants to even toddlers, right? And so my wife and I can't sleep without a sound machine. We actually do sleep with a rain sound machine, right? And shamelessly sharing that, and perhaps maybe I'll make a remix of this where it's just constant. I really do like the rain track that I was able to pick up and record. I guess one other thing I want to talk about in regards to gear is the fact that some of us will look at videos that exist out there on a product to gauge whether or not we're interested, or maybe we are interested, but we want to gauge whether or not that product might be for us. What is the hype about? Are the reviews out there good? Are the reviews bad? Are there enough demos for you to listen to and assess whether or not the piece of gear actually is worth exploring, right? And I'm sorry, I'm running out of breath here, and I don't have a water bottle nearby, but that's my fault. Anyway, a friend of mine recently shared a video on somebody reviewing the color box, which I'm a fan of. I'm straight up biased. I'll tell you that right here. So listen to my words with a grain of salt. But the point was, this person reviewing the color box, to me, I felt like they lacked credibility. They're a great musician, great bass player, great speaker, great content creator, and very entertaining. However, this person was knocking the color box in many different ways that I felt were unfounded. For example, they tried some setting and they produced some video, and apparently it did not sound good, right? And to them, they couldn't, allegedly get a good clean tone. But it didn't sound like they experimented much with the device. If they had to resort to people, listening to people's suggestions, right? If you couldn't troubleshoot that yourself with just an EQ availability on a device, I'm not sure that you tried hard enough. First of all, that's my opinion. Secondly, when you are, kind of low-key bashing a device, but you're cranking up the bass shift knob one direction and then claiming that it's not doing enough for you, but the actual bass level knob is at 12 o'clock. That does nothing for the device. You either crank it up or you turn it down. So you're either boosting levels or you're dropping levels. Some sort of, EQ, right? You're either raising it or dropping it. And so to me, I was like, yeah, this person is saying a lot, but is kind of biased into their whatever preferences they have, which is fine. It's maybe just for entertainment, just for views. But I really felt that this person didn't have enough credibility, right, in order to say that this product was not maybe good enough is the word. What I will say is that there was another element that was brought into the picture of how noisy the pedal was, how there was a hiss, and maybe some people feel the same way about the color box. But I would say that virtually every pedal is going to present some sort of floor noise or some sort of noise, some sort of hiss or hum to a degree, depending on what that pedal is, right? As soon as you start going past Unity, or even at Unity, you're going to get something else brought to the table. I'm going to say that's just inherent. And so if there's an annoying hiss from the color box, I don't know how you're not hearing any other sort of hiss or projection of any other sort from any other pedal, to be honest. I'm not going to name who the person is. Again, this is just me and my opinion, my take on the fact that I have dabbled with the color box enough to know that for me, what it provides is at least 4 to 5 good sounds. It's flexible, and at least I feel like I can use the EQ properly, right? And making it sound full when needed, making it sound thin, and with the high pass filter switch, I feel like I really like that feature for the lo-fi recordings at times to play chords specifically. If you need a bass boost, you got that. If you got treble or mid, I like to use the mid boost on solos, to be honest. I feel like that really cuts into the mix on a live gig. And so just because it can do these things, it doesn't mean you need to have it on all the time. And I felt like this person was kind of making it seem like it was a necessary purchase to be had on all the time, and which I don't feel is to be true, right? Some people like compression on all the time. I don't, for the most part. And it also depends if I'm using my short board or larger board, or the 2-board combination. But anyway, that's my take. I know I feel like I'm nitpicking, but I felt like that person was nitpicking. So I'm trying to low-key retaliate in the sense that I'm biased towards the device. And I feel like it can do a lot. Doesn't mean it has to always be a go-to turning on option. Even if you own it, and even if I guess there was a comparison towards it being like the Neve 1073, etc. It may have inclinations or hints of it, but I guess nobody has ever said that it has the exact parts. That's another thing. So whether we claim, or somebody may claim, that the Neve 1073 is the go-to, I would say try it out for yourself, and you can make the comparison. I don't have a Neve 1073, but again, to me, it still sounds good. And when this person was comparing it to an actual Neve 1073, apparently there's like compression or some other features on that device that aren't on the color box. So to me, you're still comparing apples and oranges. It's a little unfair to say that the color box falls short of the 1073 if you're not really going after that sound. If you're trying to put this on a pedal board and maximize space, and again, whether you're trying to tone shape at the front or at the end, again, that's a personal thing. I'm using it more as a tone shaper at the beginning, although I have used it as a DI in a live situation and a record situation. It may not be the placement for you. My word of advice is to try it in both places. Middle, I don't know how that would work, but maybe that's a thing to be explored. I'll let you know if I ever try that out. But for me, at the beginning is usually where I do use it when I do. Well, that is, I do have my bass right here on the floor. It is not plugged in, but I do like playing chords occasionally. And I guess I'll do that. Yeah. Acoustic, right? Hollow body. I don't know if that came out clear or not, but thank you for listening. I hope that you guys have a great one, and stay tuned for the next podcast.